lately it seems like my husband David is getting all my regular people commenting on his content, and they're not commenting on mine, and I'm just going, why did you love me no more? And it just got us both laughing so much. But it's always a good time with Shelley and I. I mean, we have a blast, don't we?
We do have the giggles whenever we chat.
So hello and welcome everyone to Talking Into Profits. If you don't know my guest Shelley Wilson, you will know by the end of the show. If you are here, drop a comment for us so that we know. I mean, as it is, we're okay with talking to ourselves, but we're here to talk to you today as well. So if you're catching this later, hashtag replay, and do make sure you drop your questions in the comments, and Shelley and I will dip back by, make sure they're answered. And if you don't know Shelley, she is a writing mentor for women. Now, I was just telling Shelley how starstruck I am when I have such amazing guests on my show, but she is a best-selling multi-genre author. She's published 20 books. Yes, 20 actual published books, not ebooks, books. And is working on number 21 right now. She claims she's an awful cook, but like I told her, I'll cook for her if that's the case, because she can drive her Snoopy van, Miss Snoopy, her camper van, out to Portugal and hang out with me. I would love it. Shelley's passionate about storytelling, and she is on a mission to inspire women in business to use the written word to boost their visibility. Shelley, say hi and tell us a little bit more about Snoopy and your adventures.
We've only got an hour, Heidi.
I know. Remember, we do. There's going to be topics today. We're going to have to keep some of them down, of course. But yeah.
You'll be whipping me off the stage soon, won't you? Well, Snoopy is my inspiration station. That's probably the only way I can say it. So, as you know, I've just got back from a couple of days away. And I absolutely love my VW camper. I jump in him, I'll take my laptop, all my notes, I'll do research trips, and I feel my creative well and absolutely adore it. And I go on my own, so it's even better. I can just please myself.
It's amazing because I mean, I'm always watching your posted photos and this, and I'm always a little bit like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I want to do that too. And I mean, I travel, but I don't do the camper van thing, but the freedom of that. And then watching you go into other places and other towns and end up in an event, and just because you live this lifestyle that allows you to do that. I mean, it's really inspirational.
Thank you. That's the beauty of working for yourself, doing what you do, and especially because I write. So I'm a writing mentor and a writer. That all I need is a laptop and Wi-Fi sometimes. So the nomad life, the van life.
Oh, look, we got Alicia joining us. Hi, Alicia. Yeah, I mean, it is truly amazing what you're doing with that and inspiring so many people, because, I mean, just between now and January, I thought I was visible and doing things. Do you even know how many events you did in the last 7 weeks?
I daren't count them, honestly. I'm just, my lovely friend Karen, she calls me whack-a-mole because I just pop up everywhere.
I can see that, because I was watching your social feed, and it was like you were somewhere new every 5 minutes. And I mean, it was just like, okay, where's she going to be next? And I was still in the FOMO of like, why am I not in the UK? I want to hang out with all these cool people. So let's dive into telling people about, how does writing a book? Because, our audience is looking into marketing. They're looking to gain visibility, credibility, authority. And writing a book is like one way to really put things off the charts. I mean, it's just like immediately your credibility blooms if you're just like, oh, here's my Amazon link for my book. Walk into a bookstore, even better, but just drop your Amazon link and everybody's all of a sudden, oh my God, you actually are a pro. You wrote a book.
Yeah, it's nice. As you know, I do a lot of networking over here in the UK, and a lot of women in business networks. And obviously we all take our business cards, don't we, or whatever that might be. Although my business card is actually a bookmark, but that's a whole other story. But what I've started doing now is actually taking a selection of my books with me, and I don't take all of them because they weigh a lot now. But I'll take them, and standing up when you do your 60 seconds or whatever it is, and you're introducing yourself, having something that you can just hold up and go, oh, this is what I've written on, this is what I've written on, this exactly. Yeah, it's just, you can see the lights go on in so many people's eyes because they're like, that's what I want to do. That's been a dream of mine since, I was a knee-eye to a grasshopper. And you can just see them light up when they see the actual product in front of you. So rather than saying, yeah, I've written a book, showing them, just, it's amazing.
Well, can you show us one right now? I'm just saying.
Okay. Here's one I prepared earlier. Yes, there we go. I was just saying to you, wasn't I, that it's 10 years anniversary in May since I published, and I self-published this. It has since been picked up by my publisher and redone. But yeah, 2014, I published this, and it went straight to #1 in self-help and women's biographies. So this is my baby.
Oh, that's so amazing. And it's his 10-year anniversary. I mean, congratulations on that. And best-selling author. We mentioned she was a bestseller, guys. So as far as using that, I mean, you mentioned a bookmark as how you hand out for your business card, but in reality, your book is your business card. It's a lead magnet, because you can even use that online as a promotion tool to get people onto your email list and stuff.
Huge, absolutely. And I mean, you talk about marketing and that link. So one of the tools that I often say to my writing clients is they write a book and it might be 60,000 words, let's say. And so that's a big expense to be just giving out, isn't it? But from a marketing point of view, what they could do is take maybe the first 2 chapters and put them in like a leaflet style that can be done by a printer. And then you take that, you hand them out left, right and centre. People have got 2 chapters in and they are hooked, and they will be, where do I need the rest? I need to buy the rest. So as a marketing tool, that's a brilliant way of doing it. And then obviously you've got your lead magnets and whatever with ebooks and what have you.
Yeah, that almost makes me think, because you just triggered something, and I don't know if this is still happening, but I guess it was 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a little further back. And I don't know if these platforms still exist. Maybe you know, but do you remember those platforms where people would like write a chapter at a time and release it, and the audience does that still exist?
No, as far as I know. So Wattpad is the one that I know the most, because one of my favorite young adult authors, she wrote her first book on Wattpad, and like you say, was releasing a chapter at a time. But yeah, I mean, they're brilliant for one, raising you have to be on there. It's exactly like any other social media platform, as you'd say. You have to be consistent, you have to be all, on there all the time and doing what you're doing. You're building your audience. But you can get found on platforms like that. But it's a great way to practice your writing, to get feedback. It's a bit like having a beta reader almost. What do you think of this, guys? What about this character? And yeah, it's a great idea.
I knew a lady who was doing it that way, because she was able to write a chapter a week that way, and that kept her motivated and going, because our audience she had developed, she actually got so popular on, and I can't remember which platform because this is so many years ago, but she had thousands literally on there begging for her, which kept her accountable. But not only that, they were paying for the privilege of her releasing a chapter a week. And then by the end, she had a whole book that she was so popular in that aspect, a publisher picked it up.
Yeah, exactly. It's just right place, right time, isn't it? And that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I know that struck me. I'd forgotten about that till you hit me up with that. But she was also a big point with that, was not only was she able to build the audience about that the whole time she was writing the book, but she converted a lot of them to her email list. And by the time that she was done with that, she had like over 10,000 people on her email list, which shows writing a book massively grow your email list.
Yeah, your author platform is probably one of the just most important parts of writing a book. And I have a lot of people will message me and say, I've written this book and it's not selling. Can you help me? Why isn't it selling? And the first thing I'll say is, well, what platforms are you using? And how many people have you got in your email list? And 9 times out of 10 they'll go, oh, I don't like social media and I don't have an email list. I'm like, how is anyone supposed to find your book? How is anyone going to find you? You have to build this platform, whatever that might look like, be it your email list, be it a social media account, YouTube videos, whatever it might be. You have to have something so that your audience can find you.
Well, and you bring up a great point there. I mean, I see so many people saying, I don't want to use social media, which obviously there are multiple ways you can do things without using social media. But as an author, and I'm a social media marketing strategist, so of course I'm promoting social media, but what other place can you go and get immediate access to so many people to sell your book, your offers, your services, my services, all of this stuff than social media? Is so much faster and easier. And I always ask people, are like, well, can I do it without it? And I'm like, yeah, but why would you?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think because there are so many platforms, we think we've got to be everywhere, and we don't. It's like, pick one. Depending on what genre you're writing and your audience, if you were writing a business book, you'd probably be on LinkedIn. Just stay on LinkedIn, stay in that lane. Yeah. As you know, I write nonfiction, I write self-help, so it's a lot of Facebook ladies, if you like, and then I also write young adult fiction, so I've had to go onto TikTok, Heidi. Oh my god,
I love it. I'm going to be over there shortly. I love it.
It is fun, I must say, and I'm learning so much being over there, but luckily I've got my daughter who is a film student helping me out, so I've got a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, but I love that you are growing in that aspect and you're embracing the new places, because I mean, obviously TikTok's the #1 social platform right now. So if you're not on it and use it, and you're using it for your business, and it's working out. So as long as you have fun with it.
Exactly. Oh gosh, if you're not having fun, then don't do it.
Yeah, and I know you also, because you're heavily on Facebook, because you have a Facebook group for ladies over there wanting to write a book. Do you want to tell everybody about your Facebook group real fast?
Yeah, sure. It's just what it says on the tin. It's start writing your book, Facebook group. Simple as that. But yeah, it's a kind of a space for anyone. I share all sorts of tips in there. I have accountability threads. I have writing prompts on a Wednesday. Ask me anything days. So yeah, it's just to try and get people writing and communicating, because when you write a book, you are on your own, just you and a screen, and that can be, we know what the inner chatter can be like, don't we? So it's just somewhere to come and go, I'm struggling, help me write.
Well, and let's talk about that, because I mean, you've been on me for quite a few years to write a book. And I keep saying I didn't know what I wanted to write about, and I really didn't. But as you keep reminding me, because it was also, for me, it was mainly, I didn't know what I wanted to write about. I was really coming into my niche and starting to own it, instead of, just being social media marketing strategist or content writer. I mean, that's so everybody's doing it kind of thing. So, I really it was earlier this year. Actually, David's the one who noticed what my book should be about. And I was doing a LinkedIn audio event. And something I said in it, he was recording it, and he's like, oh my God, he came in like 2 days later with a mock-up of a cover for the book. And he says, Heidi, I got a surprise for you. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what? And he's like, your book topic. I know what it's going to be about. And I'm like, no, I don't even know what it's going to be about. And he's like, yeah. He's like, and then he shows me, he's already mocked it up, mocked everything. And it's like, it's talking into profits. You said it during the audio, the LinkedIn audio. And I said, no, did I really say that? He had to play the clip back to me, and I'm just listening. I'm like, did I say that? That was just like, that didn't come up from me. But anyway, so that really got me. As of November of last year, I now know what my book's going to be. But there was a big thing you've been reminding me that whole time too, because I did also tell you, I didn't know what I wanted to write, but B, I didn't have time. And then you kept reminding me I could write my blog and use my blog to repurpose into a book. So tell people how they can repurpose, because I know so many people have that same excuse, objection, whatever we want to call it, but all of us are writing like a piece of content per day in most cases. So tell us how we can use all of that and make a book.
The book I just showed you, so that one is it was a blog to book project. The whole thing was a blog. And back then I was a holistic therapist. I needed to tell my clients that they could do anything they wanted to if they put their mind to it. And so I blogged every week for 52 weeks about all sorts of challenges and stuff. And then it's a bit of a rewrite, a bit of a tweak, because I'd use pictures in blogs and what have you. But it was a fairly easy transition to tweak it to suddenly become a 50,000 word book. And so, yeah, I think one of the things I do with my writing mentor clients is they see it as a separate entity, right? Oh my gosh, I'm doing all these blogs and I'm doing all this social media content and I'm having to write masterminds and I'm having to do webinars and I'm having to do like workshops. And oh my God, I can't possibly fit in a book. And if I said to them, right, I just have a look on your computer right now, and you've probably written 5 books in the past year.
I write probably at least one a year.
Exactly. There is so much, and it's all stuff that we repeat over and over, especially when we're talking about it, our niche. So we're like, I obviously talk about writing a book, so I could easily write a book about writing a book because I talk about it so much, and I've got so much content that I share with all my clients. I mean, as it happens, there are millions of how to write a book books out there, so I'm just not even going to compete. I'll do my own thing. But it's, once you know, have a sort through your files, just stuff that you've forgotten about and stuffed in a drawer as well, actual physical book notebooks as well as your digital. You'll be amazed at what you can pull out. Yeah, we've all got them. And it's so easy. The first step I take with anybody is once we kind of work out why and who and all of that, is to do the outline. And that's when we really nail down what your genre is, what it is, the bits that you want to include. And that is where you pull everything. You just collate all the stuff that you've already written and you're off and running.
I know, and you just blew Beth Ann Campbell's mind.
Oh, lovely Beth.
As if she already had many book ideas, blog to book. I have that book already out there. I know what you mean, Beth. But for anybody else that's listening here, how many of you have a ton of content that you've read over the last year, 2 years? I mean, if you're like me, you've got at least 10 years of content sitting there. I'm sure you have at least one book already sitting there, if not more. Drop in the comments and let us know what you think about repurposing content you've already been doing into writing your book, your first book. Or your second, depending. If Beth here, it'll be her third or fourth.
I know, you will.
So that brings me to, we've talked a lot about, already the visibility and how it helps attract your community to you and a lead magnet. But we were talking a little bit because I right before the show too, I saw an ad on Facebook earlier today from somebody who, we see these claims everywhere. The one I saw today it claimed that you will write, publish, and become a best-selling author in 60 days or less. How do you feel about that?
Breathe for a second. Now, I am not going to knock anyone's process because I haven't delved into what they do, how they do it or anything like that, but I twitch whenever I see ads like that because yes, absolutely right. I could come off this call with you now, I could grab a whole load of content, I could whack it all together and I could have it on Amazon within 72 hours. Easy. Yes. I personally like to work with professionals, so that's editors, proofreaders, cover designers. Whatever I put out there is my brand. So it has to be 100% right. It has to be the right content. It has to be for the right audience. It has to look the part. And you can't do that in 60 days. The editing process, for a start, all the editors I know and some that I've worked with are booked up. You have to have these in advance. You have to have time to do the rounds. And that's just your self edits before you even start working with your professional editor. Publishing, yes, if you go down the Ingram Spark Amazon route, it can be a quick, wizard, plug it all in and you're off and running. You've still got your 72 hours approval and getting all that right. Bestsellers. Yeah,
I would just say, I could agree we could write and publish it in 60 days, but what about the best-selling author part?
If you want the most random, obscure category in the world, then absolutely. And there is a way of getting a bestseller status. I've done it with my clients, but it's what you're aiming for are categories that aren't overpopulated. And so
legitimately it's doable, but not necessarily in the right way.
Yeah. I think anything I put out there in the world, I want to take my time. And I know that I have written 50,000 words in 9 days. I know I've done it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that was my first draft. That was just me vomiting ideas onto the page. It then took 6 months to edit and get it right. That first draft, there's no way I would put that out there into the world. No way. Absolutely not. And so that's what worries me with a lot of this, let's get it done in 30 days, 60 days, whatever, is that they're not being edited or
Well, and you brought up a really good point I want to emphasize to everybody, because even from being a social media marketing strategist, it's very important you're showing up with your tone, your voice, your look, that you are writing or creating content in general, since we're talking about social media overall, for your audience, and make sure it's something that's going to attract them and stuff. So I just, I get we can slap together ebooks quite easily and things like that. But I'm like you. I want, if I'm going to put a book out, and this is the mock-up cover, by the way, everybody. It's not the book yet. This is for manifesting that I'm doing it. So you guys hold me accountable. But still, I want that to be right.
Yeah.
Because that's going to go out, as we've already mentioned, a book is evergreen.
Yeah.
And I want to also mention that it's one of the long-term marketing tools. It's one long-term marketing channels, even like a podcast, a blog, YouTube channel, that it sits out there and represents you for years down the road. So if you don't have it right from the start and you've just thrown some junk out there, you also don't get to pull it back.
Right. No, and it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So your marketing, I say to my clients, it probably freaks them out a little bit, but I do say, writing an 80,000 word book, dead easy. Selling it is when the hard work begins.
Exactly.
Pour your heart and soul into something, then it's a pleasure to shout about it and talk about it and be proud. I mean, like I said to you earlier, this one book that's like 10 years old this year, I'm just any excuse to eat cake, obviously, but I am going to celebrate the fact, because it's a huge milestone.
It is.
And it's been with me throughout my whole journey, and it's opened so many doors, so many opportunities for me. Just that one book has that. It's just
give us a brief synopsis real quick of the opportunities it's opened up for you having that book that's helped your business.
Sure. I've been on podcasts all over the world. I have been on radio shows. I have been asked to speak at lots and lots of events, whether that's networking events, conferences, all kinds of things. What else have I done? Collaboration. I've been asked to run workshops, facilitate things. I've been asked to judge awards. There's probably 100 other things that I can't remember right now, but there's so many opportunities.
Well, I know we were just mentioning how much you've done in the last 7 weeks. And I know part of those opportunities, you were the speaker at quite a few events. And I'm sure part of those connections were because of your book, right?
Yeah. And what's lovely is when you're at certain events as well. And I know I was at a Woman Who event last year speaking, and I was talking about this book as it was. And someone came up to me in the audience after and went, oh my God, I loved reading that book. And it was just, it changed. And honestly, that you can't put a price on that feeling. You really can't. All the podcasts in the world don't prepare you for someone saying, your book actually helped change my life or did something for me. It's amazing. It really is.
Oh, that's so awesome. I know. I feel that I feel the same way when somebody comes back to me, and this is just with my workshops and things like that. So I can imagine how it would feel to be like, your book changed my life. Oh, that's incredible. Oh, let's see who we got showed. We've got someone showed up, but they didn't allow us to see your name. So I'm welcomed that you finally made one of our workshops. Let us know who you are so we can talk to you. But congratulations for being here. And Beth has seen a few of those 60-day books. She's going to paraphrase Shelley. It looked like they just vomited words on paper, which actually, great, Beth, you gave me the great segue into, let's talk about using AI to write.
You're really testing me today, aren't you?
I'm bringing up all the hot topics right now.
So, as you know, I work with one particular network here in the UK, and my founder, I said to her, this was last September, I think it was. I said, right, I am seeing a lot of adverts at the moment telling me to write my book using AI, and it is freaking me out. So I literally, I'm a stick your head in the sand. If I don't understand something, especially if it's tech, I get very scared and I'll run for the hills. But having 3 kids who are all in their 20s, they're like, oh my God, Mum, look at this. It's so easy. And I'm like, oh my God. So I said to Karen, I need to do a session. I need to talk about chat, GPT especially, because this is what I keep seeing and it's freaking me out. Anyway, she gave me free rein, so I went off. So I got curious and I did webinars and I did masterclasses and I researched and I read and I played. And no, do not write your book with AI is the resounding answer. However, it is brilliant. It is so valuable for inspiration, for getting going, for working through writing blocks, to help you with your marketing tools for that book and for whatever it is you want to do. So that it has a place. We have to work with it, not against it. Yep. It definitely has a place, but please don't tell me you've written a book with AI ever.
That's the same for actually the content you post online, your blogs, your emails, everything, guys. I'm with Shelley here. I have ChatGPT programmed as my assistant now, and it saves me so much time, but I do not allow it to write my content. Instead, I use it to help edit it, it acts as my editor, sometimes just for a quick social piece or a blog post, which isn't quite as important as needing an editor for a book. But and I also have it set up to remove any fluff or help me with ideas, but use it as an assistant because it's not going to have your voice, your words, your experiences, your stories. I have not read an AI book yet, but I cannot imagine that it's going to have that feel that it's only we can bring.
Right. So the book I'm working on at the moment is something massively out of my comfort zone. So I'm probably really testing myself with this one. And I thought, how do I write a certain scene? So I put it into chat and asked it. Oh my God, what it gave me back was I was crying, laughing, absolutely crying. It was so fluffy and descriptive, and oh my goodness, there was no heart in it whatsoever, and it really did make me laugh. But I thought, well, now I can talk about that in one of my masterclasses or with my clients. It was a certain learning curve anyway, but yeah, it disconnects you from your audience because your voice is so powerful, and your isms and your language that you use. That I use fabulous all the time. Everything's fabulous. So if you're reading something of mine, you'll know it's going to be fabulous because I've written fabulous 50 times. But that's me. So yeah, an AI would take that out as a fluff.
Oh, I could tell you some tricks for training it to say that, but we can talk about that some other time.
That's the next one.
We're not going to tell everybody that one right here live. Actually, I'm trying to get mine programmed from saying unlocked. Everything is unlocked. It's like, oh my God, come on. And using the freaking rocket ship emoji. No. Okay. No more gripes about AI. And
No.
oh, we have Virginia James. That's who is our unknown LinkedIn user. Good to see you, Virginia. And Miss Beth, AI can pry my creative writing from my cold dead hands. I feel the same way, Beth. I do.
Yep.
I love AI. Don't get me wrong. It's a tool that's here. We might as well learn to use and accept it. But at the end of the day, honestly, nothing really for me. My good gel pens and a notebook. Oh my God.
Exactly. And writing is, I love just creating stories anyway. As you know, I write fiction as well as non-fiction, but even in non-fiction, there is such a strong form of storytelling. You've got to include what's happening to you, your life story, your experiences, your case studies, whatever that might be. And yeah, that comes from the heart and the soul.
I agree, because the way I do, just even my master, because I just got done my networking master class this past week, and just how I put those together now compared to what I would have done 4 or 5 years ago, it's completely interwoven with storytelling now, and all my social content, I mean, everything. If you truly want to connect with people, I mean, stories are thousands of years old tools for connecting, and you're not going to get a much better tool than that.
No, absolutely.
So I got one more. There's a big objection too that people always have about writing a book, and that is, I don't have the money to cover publishing expenses. Now, of course, we've obviously talked about self-publishing and stuff, but talk to us about that, because I know I've actually self-published. I'm an author, guys. I've got 2 books out there on Amazon. But in self-published, you self-published your first one. So is really not having the money an excuse anymore?
I don't think there are any excuses that we can work around them. It's budgeting. It's as simple as that. If you want to do anything in your business at all, be it have an exhibition stand, put an ad in a newspaper, whatever it is, you will add that to your marketing budget. So writing a book is the same. It's just a marketing budget. So you have to factor in, and this might be that before you, or while you're thinking about what you want to write, you start reaching out and going, right, how much would it cost me and how much am I going to need? Now, I can't give you a straight figure now, because that depends on word count. It depends on what you're going to put in the book and all sorts of factors. But you can start budgeting for it and maybe setting aside some money to do it yourself. And there's so many people in the industry now that just help with that. I mean, we know a lot of people in our network, don't we, who can help you to publish something. Yeah. But what I like to think, it's like you're going to make it back not on book sales, but on what you can attract. Yeah. So you might pitch your book at $10.99, and you might only sell 10 copies, but 2 of those people might book a one-to-one with you that you might charge out at $2,000 a pop. So you've made money back. You've got clients into your world. You've got to think about it as a business investment.
And that's a great point. And you also mentioned something else too, because people get this idea, I'm going to end up being the next Stephen King or whoever, and I'm going to make millions off of my books and this kind of stuff. So far, you've written and published 20 books. You're on 21. You're not a multi-millionaire because of it, but it is causing the other part of your business to expand. And that's where it's truly helping you make your money.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I probably make 100 or just over 100 quid a month on my royalties from 20 books. And that's me not really selling them, to be fair. I'll hold my hands up and say I'm awful at marketing my own books sometimes, because one, I'm always writing the next one, and then I'm also always working on my business. But what that has given me in other things, the price just goes up and up and up.
And I mean, that's what's so amazing about this, and that's why I was so excited you wanted to come on here, was because we could talk about how powerful of a marketing tool it is, and for getting you out there, and the credibility, and just honestly, Honestly, guys, the increased credibility just from saying I've published a book skyrockets you like 10,000% immediately. Oh, really? You have? And you just go up in esteem like this. I mean, instant esteem raising there.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's true. It's a tough task. It really is when you're writing a book. And I've worked with clients who have done collaboration books, and even just writing the one chapter is a lot of work to do. So getting a whole book out, the 50,000, 60,000 words, and you doing that from start to finish it's a huge achievement. But yeah, when you get the other side of that and you start reaping the benefits, you'll be so glad that you wrote it.
Yeah, and not only that, you have an instant icebreaker at any event you go to because you get, I'm a published author. I wrote XYZ. And immediately everybody's like, oh, really? You write a book? It's over. The conversation started. That works for marketing online too, by the way, guys.
Well, writing your book is also, it works the other way, doesn't it? Whereas you can have all of your social media content and blog content from your book. So we've talked about repurposing earlier and putting it all into your book, but it also works the other way. If you suddenly just you've forgotten that you've got all this content and you've just thrown together 50,000 words, for the next year, your content's sorted.
You were reading my mind because that was where I was going next. And this is right. You can write your book with repurposed content. You can use your book to create content. Make life easy.
Yeah.
Incredible marketing tools. It really is. So I know we already mentioned a little bit that you have your upcoming masterclass and you're inviting everyone to join it. What's the hook for your book? Give us the details. What's happening, when, and why everyone wants to be there.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. So Thursday, the 29th of February, which I think is next Thursday, isn't it? So at 1:00 UK time. And I'm going to be putting on a masterclass every single month, just covering topics that people are interested in, that ask me about all the time. And I've just done this particular module with my group program at the moment about the hook of your book. And a lot of people, they were like, what's a hook? When do you have it? Just at the beginning, or is it? And I'm like, right, okay, I need to talk about this a little bit more. So so what's the hook of your book? We're going to be covering all the hooks you can use. We're going to be analysing a few hooks, also how to use it in like your blurb, your marketing tools as well. So not just in your book as well. So a jam-packed hour, and everyone is more than welcome to join me. It's on Zoom.
I'm going to try. I can't promise, but I am going to try to be there. If not, is there going to be a replay? Because I follow you in this, like thinking, oh, should I do a replay or should I not? And I hadn't thought about it, but I thought actually I haven't got myself organised enough, so there'll be a replay. We'll talk about that later on the benefits of not. Actually, maybe I should do that for everybody, how it's going for me doing the replay or not the replay. I haven't really told everybody after, June will be a year of me trying that as an experiment. Wow. It's working well, but that's neither here nor there. We have dropped a link to Shelley's masterclass in the comments on this LinkedIn Live. So make sure you are signed up and you are there. And let's see, we've got a few more comments coming in. Oh, Beth is just hoping to be the next Stephen Chester. And Virginia, that happens to my sapphic. Am I saying that right? Queer fantasy. It's historical and great to have a conversation stem from it. I bet. That sounds funny.
Is that Virginia? Oh, I wonder, are you connected to Sasha Black by any, or Ruby Rowe, her name is actually. So she writes the same as you. And she's a very good friend of mine. I don't know if you're connected, but she's worth looking at.
Oh, well, everyone, if you've got any more questions or thoughts and things you want to say to Shelley, drop them in the comments right now. And while you're doing that, I am going to tell you about my exciting new 6-week networking accelerator. Right room, right people. We literally are just announcing it. We announced it with the masterclass this week. And this program is for you if you are ready to turn more of your connections into leads and clients using networking, which is an amazing way to connect. I mean, you connect, like Shelley and I met through, I think, a networking event, right? I know it was on LinkedIn networking for sure, but I think we met through a networking event. But it's all about helping convert your connections into paying clients and profitable collaborations, including speaking gigs, creating more visibility, everything we've been talking about today, and setting you up with the tools so that your networking helps you get more clients. So I'm going to drop a link for that in the comments as well. And we do have at least one question coming in here from Alicia. What do you recommend between going with a publisher or self-publishing? I didn't ask you this question because I knew somebody would.
That's actually a brilliant question, and it's one that I do get asked a lot. So I've actually done a PDF on the whether one way or the other. So if you do want me to send that to you, I can do, Alicia. So it really depends on what you want, what your goal is. I love self-publishing. I must say that's how I started 10 years ago. In 2017, I signed with a publisher, so my publisher over in America. So I've had experience of both. One over the other, they've both got their good points and their bad points. With a publisher, so if you are trying to get published, you need to check whether they accept unsolicited manuscripts. So that means that if they don't, you would need an agent first. Now, this is obviously on the larger side. So some of the smaller presses, you probably won't need an agent. Always check your contracts when they come to you. Just check all small print, as any solicitor would tell you. Just make sure that you are holding on to all the rights that you want and all of the usual stuff. Okay, so you have worked with a publisher. Okay, brilliant. So publishers, they're not like they used to be, in the days sort of long time ago when I loved, like when I was a kid and knew I wanted to be an author. They used to do the lion's share of your marketing, whereas now, even if you are signed with one of the big fives, you've still got to do the lion's share. So the good thing about publishers is you don't have to pay for editors, cover designers, your formatting, anything like that. It's all done in-house. It's all done for you. So you haven't got that expense to lay out at the beginning, which you have with self-publishing. But with self-publishing, you have total control. You can choose your editor. You can choose your cover. You can choose promotions and things like that. You just anything that you want to do, you can bundle your books. There's so much scope that you can do with self-publishing, it isn't what it used to be. There's a lot more. I know there was a lot of stigma around it when I first started, and that's mostly been removed now, especially with book awards that we have now, the business book awards and stuff. It's really kind of elevating self-published authors. So I 100% can send you that PDF, not a problem at all. It's in my Start Writing Your Book Facebook group in the files, but I can send it to you anyway. I assumed in the push for the best for credibility.
Let's see, Alicia says, I assumed another publisher would be best for credibility, but I'm finding no one really asked about that. So I'm thinking owning the copyrighted material might be better. I'm interested in your opinion about whether publisher still helps with credibility. I'm going to have to agree. No one's ever asked me who published my book.
No, exactly. I don't think anybody really checks. Like, when you check the back of a book, if you're in Waterstones or Barnes & Noble, you check the back of the book, you're looking at the price, aren't you, and reading the blurb. You're not seeing who the publisher is. You just don't go there first, do you?
Honestly, that's a page I rarely look at unless I'm just actually interested in knowing who published it because it's really cool or something, or just want to see who did it.
No, exactly.
Beth says, do you know if you can sign with a publisher after you've self-published a book? Which we know that's true because
we do, yeah. So my How I Changed My Life in a Year was self-published, and my next one, How I Motivated Myself to Succeed, they were both self-published, and both of them were picked up by W.F. Howes, which is the UK's leading audiobook distributor. So they were both picked up by that, and then they were picked up and republished by my current publisher at the moment. So and I'll tell you another story, a little one if we've got time. So the How I Changed My Life in a Year, I remember getting an email, and I think it was 2016 this was, so it was before I signed with my publisher. I got an email from an acquisitions editor from Penguin Random House, and it nearly went in the bin because I thought, well, that's spam. That's someone's pulling my what is it here. And so I didn't delete it. And I was like, no. And I kept going back and I kept going back and I kept going back. I kept looking, is it a real email address? I was like, oh my God. And I ended up, and what the email said was, have you ever thought about working with a publisher? And I was like, no, it can't be me. It can't possibly be. Anyway, I did email her back, and she was a genuine acquisitions editor from Penguin Random House. And she said, my mum read your book, because she was like 20 and my child was a lot older. She goes, my mum read your book and my mum said, you have to read this. And so she did. And then she got in touch with me and she goes, I would like to acquire your book for Penguin. Will you come and meet me in the offices in London? Honestly, it was the best day of my life. It was me sat in Penguin Random House's like office, like taking a foot selfie just to prove that I was there with my foot in the logo and the sign. I had an amazing meeting. She took it to acquisitions. Now, as is normally the case with a lot of the big fives, it didn't go any further than that. For whatever reason, you never find out why. But to me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It had already hit number one. It was already like a massive seller. So back then I was making, oh my God, 500 quid a month on that book back when it first launched. And so it was like, it's fine. But what it did to me was it was, I'm enough. I'm good enough. It was a validation thing for me that was just incredible. And then not long after that, it got signed for the audio, and also my publisher took it on. So yeah, it was just.
Do you want to drop a quickie on who you ended up publishing with?
Oh, I can do, yeah. So BHC Press, who are over in Michigan, in America.
And we had to give them a shout out because they did pick you up and they've published all your books.
They have, yes. They look after me incredibly well. Yes, they're fabulous. They really are.
This has been so freaking amazing. And I know we both know we could talk for hours, but we promised everyone we would do too much more than 45 minutes. So I am going to let you go today. Maybe we'll have you back later for some more details. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our amazing audience and all your incredible questions. For all of those who couldn't join us today, remember #replay. Drop your questions for Shelley into the comments. She'll get back to you. And remember, not only do you need to know how to publish your book right, you need to know how to market it right. Hint, hint. So there's both ladies here, you know. You could use that help if you're in that. And do make sure you join Shelley's masterclass next week. There is a replay if you can't catch the time. So make sure you sign up for that. The link is in the comments. And then find out about joining the 6 week. I'm so used to saying 6 months. I'm shrinking my programs, guys. 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months is gone. But we will give you in 6 weeks a strategic networking strategy that's going to skyrocket your 2024 business growth, income, and visibility, all using networking on social media and organized events. And as always, knows icky marketing tactics, because Shelley and I don't believe them at all. So thank you, everyone, and have a beautiful day. We will see you